Okay, so last week, I believe it was on Friday, the new Class of '09 game came out. I believe it's Class of '09 Puzzle Showdown Teenage Kraken. And I'll be completely honest. After the flip side, which I did not enjoy, I, number one, kind of just thought the series was over, and number two, wasn't exactly chomping at the bit for new material. And then the short animated episode came out and I watched it and I remember just not getting into it at all. Like I didn't find it particularly funny. And I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I don't know if this series is going to have anything else to really offer me at this point. And I think a lot of that is it really could have ended with the first game. And I say that as someone who really enjoyed the re-up. But the first game, I think, accomplished what it set out to do. It is an anti-dating sim. It is a story about a sociopath. And it shows why she is the way she is. But it... How do I want to say this? Nicole is the protagonist, but she's not a good person. And it is by no stretch of the imagination to say she is not a good person. Yes, I understand why she's the way she is. Yes, a lot of her victims are people that I don't exactly feel sorry for. But I'm not necessarily rooting for Nicole either. And that's what I find to be really interesting. I think it's also really funny. And a lot of that comes from just how over the top it is and how absurd a lot of the scenarios are. And the re-up takes that and runs with it. Like the Mayan Comp storyline is insane. What was the name of the charity? Was it Charity Rocks? That storyline is insane. Like it's so over the top and absurd, like because that's how satire works, that it's hilarious and I enjoy it. But I still see the story for what it is. This is the story of a sociopath enjoying the power she has over other people because for so much of her life she is the one who has been powerless. And what is it? It's is it Network? I think is the I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore. That's kind of what Nicole is, or who Nicole is. And I think that really works. The flip side bothered me. And I think part of it is just, yeah, I don't know how well this series works with a character who's not Nicole. Because Jekka's not a sociopath, and I empathize and sympathize with her a lot more and a lot easier. So the fact that there's no good ending and nothing that could ever really be construed in a positive way just makes the whole experience feel bitter in a way where with Nicole, you're like, okay, well, when you get a bad ending, sometimes it's just her fault. There's the one ending in the original game where she commits suicide. That one is not her fault. That is like the one where I'm like, Nicole is completely blameless here. And almost every other scenario, it's like, yeah, well, you're homeless because you got kicked out because you falsely accused someone of sexual misconduct. I don't feel sorry for you here. But then you get like the white nationalist shit where like, yeah, you burn down the school, the school burned down, and you're kind of the hero here, but also like nothing good really happened, and it's fascinating. And then in the flip side, like Jekka has this whole storyline where I think she's just trying to do her job, and then they get really sidetracked and end up getting sex trafficked, and like, what? How did this lead to this? So I'm like, yeah, I was just trying to leave the party early because I thought it was a good idea. What do you mean she kept drinking and then hit Ari and killed her? Oh, okay. Uh, the big problem I had, though, with the flip side, in addition to just how mean-spirited it is, was the whole meta-narrative going on with the ARG, and at the end it's like, you're God. You're the person, you being the player. You're the person putting them in these situations. Like, all of this misery and suffering is because of you. And, like, here's the thing. This was the wrong game to do it in, because this is the game that has very little choice, and my choices really felt like they didn't matter. If this was at the end of the first game, or the re-up, or I feel like my choices really matter, and I am really trying to see just all the stuff in the game, even some of the really mean-spirited stuff, you would have an argument. But with this one, no, you don't. I don't feel bad about this because I don't feel responsible for any of the things that happened here. In the other games, I do. You know, I mean, to some degrees, it kind of depends on the route. Like, I don't feel any responsibility here. This is just on you, the writer, because you're the one who wrote it this way. And it was just that feeling of this game, in both the way it's written and its attempt at meta commentary, felt so spiteful that I really didn't care for it. All of that is to set up the fact that when the new Puzzle League game came out, I really didn't care. But I got Jose into Class of 09, and unlike me, he actually really enjoys the flip side for, what it is and the story it's trying to tell. So he's like, hey, I'm going to get it, and, we can play it together. So we did, which translates to, I just watched him play it. I never actually did any of the puzzles. And I watched him do the first 4 routes, but then the next day he did the Nicole Jecker route, and I just didn't see it. But I've seen the ending cutscene with the puzzler. So without even getting into that, I think it was partway through Ari's route, Jose and I just kind of had a conversation. So this is what the game is about, right? It is about how playing games doesn't really matter, and being good at video games isn't really something to brag about, because you see, Kyler talks about that, but that's more with lacrosse. But it's a game, it's a skill he has that people say isn't really going to translate, no one really cares about. You see it a lot with Jeffrey. I did laugh pretty hard that there is a dark Jeffrey. It's that was gold. Both of us laughed with the Chussler, with just the, who is this? What is going on here? But it's with Ari's route in particular, because her thing is that she has depression, but playing this puzzle game is something that is helping distract from her pain. And while, yes, she is doing nothing to better herself, she's doing nothing to better her situation, it is taking her mind off things. It is numbing the pain. And doing so in a way that's not, extremely unhealthy, drinking. So I'll give her that. But the game doesn't. It's not that she gets a bad ending, it's any route that isn't the Nicole and Jekka route is just sort of a non-ending. And while some of the dialogue is fun, I think it's between Jekka and Kyler where she's like, dude, I don't even think you can read. He's like, no, I read books and shit. I got that Dr. Seuss joint on lock. That made me laugh pretty hard. There is some stuff that I thought was funny. But overall, I was like, I'm not really getting anything out of this. This just feels really vapid. And then there's that final cutscene with Nicole and Jekka and the puzzler, which essentially just comes down to Soul Brother number 3 getting on his soapbox and saying, I think video games are a waste of time. And I'm paraphrasing, but this is how I interpret it. I think it's a waste of time because I think there's better things that people could be doing with their lives. And I made this game knowing that my audience would play it and they would get through it. And hopefully by playing this game, they'll get to that conclusion that, yeah, this game wasn't really that fun. I didn't really get anything out of it. There's better things I could be doing. And when he's done with his monologue, he's like, let me show you that I can help you take those first steps to a better life. The game just closes. So I'm gonna be a little nice, at least at the start. and say that I think this is well intentioned. It genuinely comes across, I like watching it and watching it in that context. It feels like someone who has seen a lot of people languishing in their lives and not living life to the fullest, or really not doing much of anything at all, but just sitting around playing games and very likely complaining about how they're stuck in their life, or they wish things could be better, wish things could be different, but doing nothing to change it. And someone who has seen so much of that and is trying to tell people, is like, look, I have an audience, and if I can change at least one person's life, I've done something good. Please live your life. Please broaden your horizons. Go outside, meet people, explore your town, your city, read, write, create, do something, because just sitting in front of a computer or a PlayStation or a Switch for hours is not going to make your life better. It might bring you a little bit of joy when you're doing something fun, but how much is that going to last, and is there any real meaning to that? And like I said, I think it's well intentioned, and I think there's something to it. And I think if my life was different, if I was someone who did nothing but play video games all day and was really miserable, it would hit me differently. But for me, it feels very pretentious and feels like someone saying, like, hey, I know better. You should do what I'm telling you to do and not do this thing that you enjoy. You need to broaden your horizons. You need to live your life. You need to do stuff. I'm like, yeah, I do. I've been reading a lot of classic literature this year, and I've been enjoying it. I go outside, like I try to run and jog once a day. Didn't actually do so this morning. I had a bit of a late start, but it happens. But it's something I've been trying to do. I have a career, not just a dead-end job. Like, I have an actual career that I went to school for, and like a business I've started. I write. I've written books. They don't sell well. Like, I won't deny that. But this is like a thing that I do. I don't just sit in front of a screen and languish for hours and think, why is my life not better? I'm like, no, I take steps to change my life. I also enjoy playing video games. I like playing single player games and experiencing the stories therein, some of which are some of my favorite stories of all time. I love Trails and Trails in the Sky in particular. I've loved a lot of JRPGs I have played, and they've really stuck with me. If we include visual novels as well, I've three of them are three of my favorite stories ever, with Umineko, Muv-Luv, and Fate Stay Night. I'll throw Totoro in there as well. I think Totoro is amazing. And when I look at Ari's story in particular, about how it's like, oh, like, well, you're depressed and you're playing video games to like try to distract you from it. Well, why don't you do something else with your life? And like, I feel like you're disregarding video games as an art form, because your message, the way it comes across to me, is that you will never take any meaning from a game. And I look at all the different times I've played through Celeste, because it's a game that I always seem to play when I need it. And it is a game that I think I could say has saved me. Or I look at something like Persona 3. Because even before this, before I started recording, I was just listening to the Reload version of Memories of You, and it's beautiful. And I think this game and its story is beautiful. it is very similar to the theme of Class of '09 Puzzle League. I know it's Puzzle Showdown, I just like calling it Puzzle League. Where it is about living your life. Broaden your horizons because you only have so much time. And you don't know how much time you really have. So make the best of it. Go explore your town. Go meet people. Go learn new skills. Fall in love. Do things or don't do things. Because if that's what makes you happy, if there's days where you just need to lay down and rest, that's okay too. And it bothers me how an entire art form is being disregarded so someone can just get on their soapbox. And it just feels really hypocritical to me. And it honestly feels kind of disingenuous as well. Where it's... Because I was talking to Jose, because Jose actually really... He didn't think the game was fun, but he did enjoy the message. And he had said to me, he's like, I think if the game was fun, the message wouldn't have worked so well. But because this was just kind of a slog to get through, it reinforces the theme that, playing games isn't really going to get you anywhere because, you went through the slog and what did it bring you? And to me, I'm like, this almost sounds like the opposite. It sounds like, man, I want to prove that playing video games is not good, so let me make something that is intentionally designed to be a slog, rather than, what if I made something fun and something really engaging? But then ask the player afterwards, was that even worth it? Was this worth the price of admission? You had some fun, sure, but what did you really get out of it? Which, again, he does kind of ask Nicole and Jekka anyway. But if the argument is, this game wouldn't have worked if it was fun, it just kind of bothers me. Well, then it seems like it just wouldn't have worked. I don't really care for it. So from my perspective, that's a third strike in a row toward this series. And I'm like, man, I wasn't even gonna get the game. I just experienced it with a friend because he wanted to, which is, again, I think another thing that even goes against what this game is saying. It's like, hey, you're wasting your time and not getting anything out of it. I don't know, I got to spend a few hours hanging out with my friend, and that's fun. A few days ago, I was at a pool party with some friends, and a buddy of mine just sat for 30, 40 minutes, maybe even longer, just talking about different video games. And I was asking about, what are your thoughts on this series or your experience with this series? I've been hanging out with Clay while he plays Deltarune, and I've been really getting into it. He's been getting into it. And then when I was hanging out with Wyatt talking about Mario, we had a conversation about Deltarune, because that's another thing about gaming. It's a social activity. Even if you're playing a single player game, you can do it in a group, or you can talk to people about it. This message feels so close-minded. And while I think it's well-intentioned, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and maybe after the flip side I shouldn't be, but as well-intentioned as it is, at least for me and where I'm standing, I think it falls pretty flat.